In this video, we'll learn how to use the GW Instec GPE 4323 DC power supply. So it's actually pretty straightforward. You'll first notice that we have the on-off button. So it's just a toggle. So if I press it in, power goes off. Press it in again, power comes on. So that's down here in the bottom left corner of the instrument. And then what you're going to notice is we have actually four different channels for voltage. So channels 1 and 2 are in the middle. Okay, channels 1 and 2, and those are going to be up to 32 volts. Channel 4 goes up to 15, and channel 3 on the far right goes to 5 volts. Okay, and so the way you want to set up a voltage is you want to select which channel. So for instance, if we look up at the display, you can see that this is currently on channel 1. Okay, so what I would do is I would come over here where I have channel 1 voltage, and I would adjust that. So maybe I adjust that to say 15, or I could adjust it down to say 6. Okay, so that's where you set the voltage. Now, one of the things that you'll notice about channels 1 and 2 is they actually have a current limiting knob. So you can limit the amount of current. So you can see right now for channel 1, we're limited to 0.05 amps. And so if I go to channel 1 current, okay, I could increase that. Okay, so now I'm all the way up at 0.1 amps. Or I could decrease it, say 0.02 amps, okay, for channel 1. So channels 1 and 2 are going to give you the widest range from 0 to 32 volts, and you can actually limit the current. Now these middle two buttons here, these are for setting up the tracking mode. We're going to always be in independent, so we want both of these buttons pushed out in the out position, so that both channel 1 and channel 2 are independent power supplies. Now the other thing you'll notice is down here you can switch between channel 1. Now I'm on channel 4. You can see here this is now a 4. This is a 1. And then here's the channel 2, 3 select. Channel 2, and now I'm on channel 3, and now I'm back to channel 2. Okay, so again, you've got channels 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you have these selects here to select between 1 and 4 or 2 and 3. And so whichever one that it says that you're on here, you want to use that voltage knob to set the voltage. Okay, and again, if you're using channels 1 and 2, then you can also limit the amount of current as well. The last thing to be aware of, there's another on-off button here, which is different from the one we saw initially. Okay, this on-off button is going to actually turn on the outputs so that they will be provided to the output terminals. Okay, so this on-off here is to turn power on and off to the device, to the unit. This on-off is to enable the voltage to be output to the to these terminals here. Okay, the last thing that's kind of interesting is there's another button here that lets you set the view, and if you hold it in long enough, it'll lock, so that when you do that, it'll prevent someone from accidentally adjusting the voltage. So let's say we're on channel 1, I'm at 6 volts. If I hold in this lock, now you can see that I'm locked. Now if I go to channel 1, voltage, notice that I'm turning the voltage, but it's staying fixed at 6 volts. Okay, and then to undo it, you would hold this in again. Okay, now it's up at 10 volts because I had adjusted it while I was in lock mode. Okay, and now I'm back to 6 volts. Okay, and again, here is the, see how this says off? I hit on off. Then this illuminates green, and then there's also an on indicator here that tells me the voltage is ready at the terminals to be connected to my breadboard. So that's going to do it for this video. We'll just keep this one short. Basically, the things to remember: the on-off button to turn on the unit, the instrument, and then you select either channel 1 or 4 or channel 2 or 3. You set the voltage with the voltage knobs. Channels 1 and 2, you can limit the amount of current so you don't draw too much current. And then the on-off button here will turn the outputs on or off. Okay, so now I turn these off, and so it's off, so I would not have any voltage at the terminals. Okay, even though the display still says that I have 6 volts. Okay, so that's just a very, very quick intro to how to use this DC power supply.